It is July 17th, and on Today in Murder, we go over the Kansas City Massacre in 1933. Today we're exploring a tragic and violent event that shook the nation and led to significant changes in law enforcement. This is the story of the Kansas City Massacre. On the morning of July 17, 1933, the bustling Union Station in Kansas City, Missouri, became the site of a brutal and deadly shootout. This event, now known as the Kansas City Massacre, resulted in the death of 4 law enforcers and a criminal fugitive. The massacre was part of a daring attempt to free a notorious gangster, Frank "Jelly" Nash, from federal custody. Frank Nash was a seasoned criminal with a long history of bank robberies and prison escapes. By 1933, he had become one of the most wanted men in America. This came after escaping from a U.S. penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas in 1930. Nash managed to evade capture for nearly 3 years. On July 16, 1933, Nash was finally apprehended by FBI agents in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The agents, along with local law enforcement, planned to transport Nash back to Leavenworth. They decided to take him by train to Kansas City, where they would then drive him to the penitentiary. As the train arrived at Union Station early on the morning of July 17th, Nash was escorted by a law enforcement officer. Waiting for them at the station was Reed E. Vetterly, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Kansas City office. The officers and their prisoners made their way to a parked car outside of the station. Unbeknownst to them, a gang of Nash's criminal associates, led by Vernon C. Miller, was lying in wait. The gang included notorious outlaws Charles "Pretty Boy" Floyd and Adam Ruschetti. As the officers attempted to load Nash into the car, the gang opened fire with machine guns and shotguns. The scene quickly descended into chaos. In the ensuing gun battle, 4 law enforcement officers were killed. Frank Nash was also killed in that crossfire. The massacre sent shockwaves across the nation. The brutality and audacity of the attack highlighted the growing threat posed to organized crime and the need for stronger federal law enforcement. In response, the FBI, under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, intensified its efforts to combat gang violence and bring notorious criminals to justice. The Kansas City Massacre also led to significant changes within the FBI. The agency adopted new tactics and equipment, including the use of bulletproof vests and more powerful firearms. The massacre underscored the importance of better coordination and communication between federal and local law enforcement. In the aftermath of the massacre, the FBI launched a nationwide manhunt for the perpetrators. Vernon Miller was eventually tracked down and killed in a shootout with law enforcement. Charles "Pretty Boy" Floyd and Adam Ruschetti were also pursued relentlessly. Floyd was killed by FBI agents in Ohio in 1934, while Ruschetti was captured, tried, and executed for his role in the massacre. The Kansas City Massacre remains a stark reminder of the violent and turbulent era of the early 20th century. It's a story of crime, law enforcement, and relentless pursuit of justice. It is July 17th, and on Today in Murder, that was the Kansas City Massacre.